This is the Darling of the Forgotten State, unofficial OTS member, Noah Vale, and you're tuned in to the OTS Project.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the OTS Project, here with episode 9. Theo! What's going on?
Yo!
What's up?
Nothing much. I finally caught up on everything My Hero. So
Okay.
And that got very emotional. Definitely towards the end of the last season there. But
Yep.
I finished that up. I've been working out still. I am finally up to 126. I was at like 117 2 months ago. So I'm up
There you
almost
go.
10 pounds. And
I got a
keeping
little
on,
bit
keeping
of-
on.
I got a little bit of weight I can give you if you need that I don't want. So.
I'll take it.
Theo needs to gain weight. I need to lose weight.
Yeah.
It evens out. It's evening out.
It's the dichotomy of it all.
Right.
Together we make two average people.
Yeah, there you go. That's awesome. Anything else going on with you?
No, nothing much. I can't say.
Have you?
No.
Did you go to the Ren Fair, or is that?
Oh, not yet.
tomorrow?
We're doing that in March.
Oh, I thought you said you were doing it this weekend.
No.
Okay, cool. All right, well, for me, not too much. I know last week I said my foot was all messed up. It was kind of hard to walk. We're pretty much clear at this point. It's still a little uncomfortable, but at this point I can at least walk. I can at least move and not have to kind of hobble around. So that's good on my end. Other than that, I've continued watching Demon Slayer. I have, I don't know, I go through phases with anime where it takes me a while. Attack on Titan, I literally said, is my favorite anime. That took me like 6 months to watch like 3 seasons because I'll watch a bit and then I just fall off of it and then I'll get back on. It happens with any anime like that for me. So Demon Slayer, I started that like 4 or 5 months ago, and I just yesterday finished season 1. I'm loving it so far though. I think I maybe, it's one of those things where I think you have to like, I go through phases, but then something will kind of finally catch me and lock me in, and then I'll kind of keep going without stopping. I think I'm at that point now where I'm on they call it the Mugen train, which is like the start of season 2. I'm enjoying it so far. I think it's really fun. That's Grace's, my sister. That's her favorite anime. So I also kind of want to not finish it because it's still going on, but like I want to catch up so I can really talk about it with her and stuff. And it's also Elias's, I think, favorite anime. So like, I just want to be able to talk about it with my people. You know what I'm saying? So I think I'm locked into grinding it out.
That was the surprising thing with me with My Hero, because usually I'll do like the same thing where I'll get into it for like a few weeks and then I'll stop for like months on end. But with
Right.
My Hero, I'd never really like stopped watching it, at least not for long. It kind of
Right.
always just gauged my interest and kept me along for the ride.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, other than that, nothing too much crazy going on. I was kind of, again, still the past week I was a little kind of bedridden a little bit, so I had some time to watch Demon Slayer stuff. But I think we're good now. Today is March 1st as we record, so Elimination Chamber is tonight. Theo
Yes,
will
sir.
be at my house. The championship is on the line. My first defense. Will I continue to defend my title, or will Theo be walking home with that championship? We did our predictions in a bonus video on our YouTube channel, so go check that out. But it comes down to one match. We had the same predictions for every single match except for the men's Elimination Chamber, where I'm going with Cena and Theo is going with CM Punk. So it does come down to one match. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm counting down the minutes. I'm waiting for Theo to get off his ass and get in the car and get over here so we can have some fun later. But yeah, other than that, we got a shit ton of news today.
Lot of news.
There's a lot of stuff. Starting off, apparently Kathleen Kennedy is leaving Lucasfilm. Kind of some big news. I don't know. I looked more into it. It seems like she is leaving, but it's not like, hey, tomorrow's my last day. It's going to be a minute. It's kind of similar to, maybe it's just how all kind of higher up people do things, but similar, I think, to how Bob Iger is with Disney and being CEO. Like, he also left at one point, but he came back and like now he wants to leave, but he's not giving them a date. It's kind of like I'm going to be CEO until we find someone, and then I'm going to leave. I think Kathleen Kennedy's in the same kind of thing where obviously everybody, I feel like, wants Dave Filoni to take over. Right. But I'm not. I think Dave Filoni is great creatively. I think he's incredible. but I'm not sure how he is on like kind of the business side. You know what I'm saying? And he could be great, but I feel like maybe that role should more so go to Jon Favreau because he has more kind of experience on both sides, and he already works perfectly with Filoni. So I feel like give that role to Favreau, who then can give Filoni as much creative freedom as he wants, so we still get the Filoni stuff that we want. But I think Favreau might have more of a better understanding of like the other side of Disney and other side of Star Wars, really. I mean, and Lucasfilm. But I don't know. I see a lot of people celebrating that she's leaving, and I understand it. I get it. But I think people kind of forget. Like people like to place the blame on the Star Wars Disney stuff they don't like on her, and I get it. You got to put it somewhere. But I feel like I've said it to you before. People also don't realize she also has had a hand in the things that they do like. You know what I'm saying? Like, Everyone wants to hate on The Last Jedi and blame Kathleen Kennedy for being a feminist or something like that. But Kathleen Kennedy also had to greenlight and approve things that had to do with The Mandalorian. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you could say she's horrible, but I always looked at it as like, not really. Sometimes something misses. She's human. Something misses. Something is hit. That's how everybody is. Nobody's going to be perfect. So her leaving, I'm not like celebrating it. I'm not like cheering. I'm not being Star Wars theory type shit where I'm being like, thank God we finally got rid of her. I'm kind of like more so I'm excited for the future and to see who they find that may be her successor. But I also respect and appreciate her time and what she's given us with her time as the kind of head of Lucasfilm.
Right. There's definitely been some ups and downs with her. She's definitely not the most popular person within the realm of the Star Wars business side of it. But I mean, going back to what you said, I mean, there were definitely a lot of good stuff that she did bring with her time in, like, the head of the table, pretty much. That being, like, things like Mandalorian, things like Andor and stuff like that. You know, a lot of the popular stuff that people really like to love and stuff like that. And so, you know, I mean, again, I'm kind of in the same boat with you. I'm not like, thank God this is the greatest thing ever, but, like, I'm very hopeful to see what they actually, who the next person will be. Probably Jon Favreau, which is a really good idea that you brought up earlier. I'd like to see that as well, because I think both him and Dave Filoni are definitely, like, the tag team that Star Wars needs to keep, like, a consistent quality going along with the stuff that they put out.
For sure. Moving forward, we got an Andor Season 2 trailer, and I'm going to be honest with you. I put this in the notes, and I have not actually watched it. I completely forgot
I didn't even know
it.
there was a trailer. I thought it was just, like, the announcement. I didn't know there was a trailer.
I think they, like, dropped the trailer, and I think I quickly put it in the notes, and then I was like, okay, let me go take a shower or whatever I was going to do, and I'll watch it after, and I completely forgot about it, so that's on us. We didn't watch it.
Whoops.
So maybe next week we'll have more of a discussion on the actual trailer when we watch it, but I do know... Go ahead.
I was actually just rewatching Andor. Well, I'm starting to rewatch Andor right now. Because that was something that I've been wanting to do for a while, and now that Season 2 is coming out, I'm finally rewatching it, because I didn't really like it all that much originally, but I'm getting into it a little bit more this time around.
So, to add to that, something that me and Theo did discuss is we want to kind of do at least once a month, we want to do a episode centered around reviewing something, whether it's something like Captain America Brave New World that came out in theaters, like if it's something new, or like, if it's something new that's in theaters or a new show that comes out, or something that we've seen before that we just want to rewatch. So I was going to say to you, I put it in our little list there that I want to rewatch Andor and do that as an episode before the new season drops. So good on you that you are rewatching it.
I didn't even know you put it on the list. I was just I just did it willingly, but I guess it works out pretty well in that case.
Yeah. So I need to rewatch it. I know we do have like a month. I think it comes out next month in April or something like that. So yeah, that'll be a whole episode right before probably the season 2 drops. We'll do a whole kind of review on Andor season 1. I loved it. I thought it was great. Before I rewatch it, I thought the first time, similar to you, first time, I was kind of like, it's all right. It's a little slow. It kind of is what it is. I really locked in on the prison arc. I thought that's the best shit.
That was the stuff I originally attached onto.
But the second time I watched it, because I rewatched it a few months ago, I kind of liked all of it more. I liked the heist arc and stuff like that. I liked it all a lot more. But yeah, so we're going to rewatch that, and we'll have kind of an episode centered around that. Moving on to some more stuff here. We have WB 2K25, My Career Details. yeah, something I thought was interesting. They've kind of fully shown off 20 minutes of the first 20 minutes of My Career for this year. The game comes out next week as we're recording this. My Career looks fine. It looks cool. I did like how, I guess you do. It's like a mixed story. So you create a male and a female, and you start as one of them, and then the other one kind of comes in halfway through the story. And there's parts where you take kind of control of your other call, and you do other stuff with them. I thought that was cool. That's something they haven't really done. I know 2K20, they had like Red and Trey, which is like a guy and a girl together. So that kind of is it, but I like how they're kind of separate and stuff like that. They also did say that there's going to be parts where you kind of just take control of WWE superstars within My Career as well. So that'll be interesting. I would imagine something like your person is, managing somebody and they have a match and you take control of the person that's in the match or something like that. So, I don't know. I'm excited. I always enjoy the My Career. I normally only play them once. I don't like go through and replay them. But I do know they did say there was different endings or something like that depending on how you kind of do things and whatnot. So I'm intrigued to see that. I did see that there was like a wrestling convention venue. I'm really excited for that. I know they said that's an unlockable. I would love, obviously, if they put that as a venue in Create Arena. They're not going to do that, but it would be great. But in general, the fact that it's I feel like it's still usable in general because it doesn't have a bunch of WWE logos plastered everywhere and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's just called like Grapple Legends or something. So I feel like you could just still in general use it as a generic convention. So I thought that was cool. So yeah, things like that. I always enjoy the little unlockables like that. So I'm excited for that. We got a bunch of DC news. So like I said, ladies and gentlemen, we got a lot of news in general here. I saw that there's a Teen Titans movie that James Gunn has greenlit. I'm excited for that. Excited to see what's going to go down with that. That's going to be cool. Supergirl has been filming. We know they kind of announced that in that original slate. But apparently they're almost done. I don't know if it means just film, like if they're almost done filming or if they're almost done with kind of everything. I'd imagine they're kind of just almost done filming. I'd imagine they still have a long way to go
probably
production-wise.
A lot of post-production stuff going on with that.
But I'm excited. I'm excited for Superman. I know you're excited. That's your favorite guy.
Yep.
So I'm super excited to see Supergirl. I think that's going to be fun. And the biggest piece of news I saw was that James Gunn has a 6-year plan that will culminate in some sort of Avengers Endgame type event. I feel like that's the go-to for everything now. I know the Mandalorian universe has the same thing supposed to be happening. There's supposed to be, I know there's the Mando movie, but I think there's supposed to be another movie that is kind of like the Mandalorian Avengers Endgame. So I feel like that's just the go-to. Obviously, Infinity War and Endgame were so successful, and were such not only successful in the box office, but like from like a storyline standpoint, was just such a successful thing that hadn't really happened before, where you brought everybody together to culminate this one giant 10-year story. So that's something I'm excited to see too. I figured from the jump when they said it was a shared universe that everything was connected between movies, TV shows, video games, comic books, whatnot. I kind of figured from the jump, okay, they're gonna do some sort of, Endgame type thing. So I'm excited to see that. We have yet to really, other than I guess Creature Commandos, we haven't really seen anything in this DC universe yet. Superman is really the first live action thing we're gonna get. So I don't want to get too ahead of ourselves because we haven't even seen anything yet. But if everything goes to plan, I think it'll be really cool to see Superman and Batman teaming up the right way, going against Darkseid or something like that.
I'm very hopeful. I'm a big DC fan. I've always kind of been a big DC fan. Obviously a big Superman fan. So I'm just very excited for everything. Obviously with James Gunn at the helm, that puts a lot more hope and faith in it for me. Because he's very good at directing superhero movies. Obviously with what we've seen with the Guardians of the Galaxy, I feel like he can definitely take the helm of that and do something really good with it. So I'm very excited for everything that he's got planned and going on with DC.
For sure. Yeah, I feel like a lot of people are putting a lot of weight on Superman. I feel like a lot of people are saying it's make or break, and I get that. But I feel like at the same time you just gotta have faith. You know what I'm saying? Even if Superman isn't this groundbreaking movie, I don't think it's gonna be bad in general, but let's just say it's just okay. I don't think it's dead in the water. You know what I'm saying? I feel like James Gunn is also stepping into a world that, not that he doesn't know, but he's stepping into a world with characters he hasn't worked with yet. You know what I'm saying? So he may have to work out some kinks within his own mind of how to kind of figure all this out. So I'm
And
excited.
he's starting to like create this pretty much brand new DC universe almost.
Right.
So he's kind of just working from the ground up at that point. And I mean, you can look back on things like Iron Man, the first Captain America, Incredible Hulk, all that stuff. They're not like 10 out of 10 movies.
Right.
But
That
they
Incredible
still
Hulk movie is
paved the
horrible.
way. It's bad. But they
Right.
still paved the way for the great movies that did come after that. So I mean,
Right.
it takes a lot of time for you to get to that end game level.
For sure. Moving forward to some wrestling news, we found out that Carmella has officially been, I don't want to say necessarily released by WWE, but her contract has expired. I know you were a big Carmella fan kind of more recently. I've always kind of enjoyed her. There were times where I didn't enjoy her, but she was always just middle of the ground for me. I didn't hate her. I didn't love her. But I don't want to see anybody kind of lose a job. And she did have a great personality to where even if I didn't really like her in-ring work too much, she was still kind of entertaining to watch because of her promos and things like that. But yeah, this is more on you, Theo. How you feeling?
I'm not very happy about it, obviously. I was very much so enjoying her later run and stuff like that. I'd even go back a little bit and watch like some of her previous stuff and enjoy that. I agree with you that she does a lot of great like promo work and stuff like that. Still like kind of decent in the ring too. And very unfortunate that it doesn't seem like we're going to be seeing much of her from the future, at least from the news that we've gotten. I would have really liked to see her come back, but it doesn't seem like it's going to be happening now, so I'm a little bit disappointed by that.
Well, you also never know. You know,
You never. I mean, you never know. I could be wrong. She could come back at any other time, and I'd be happy about that. But
right. Because the way I look at it is, they didn't fully go, "Hey, we don't want this person." They just let her contract expire. So the way I kind of looked at it as, it's a little different if you're like Sonya Deville, who is on the main roster actively working, and they let your contract expire. That's kind of like a, hey, we no longer want to use you kind of thing. With Carmella, she had a kid. I know she's dealing with some health things, or was dealing with some health things. So it may have just kind of been a thing where, obviously they didn't fire her while she was pregnant, thank God, and whatnot. But it may have just been a thing. I looked at it as like, hey, she's not ready to return. We've been paying her for 2 years, and she's been home. It may be time to let her contract expire, but when she's ready to return, then we can negotiate a new contract. I don't think she's out permanently. It's more just I feel like it's a, hey, we can't really keep paying you like all this money to stay home, so when you're ready, give us a call and we'll work out a new contract, rather than like a, yeah, goodbye, we don't care about you. That's how I look at it. So and I could be wrong, they may not want her back, but I just felt like it was more of a case like that of, we're sending this person a bunch of money and we can't keep doing that, so if she wants to come back, we'll just negotiate a new contract. That's how I looked at it. But another piece of wrestling news here. Apparently, Julia is injured, the NXT Women's Champion. From what I read, it wasn't some crazy injury. She's not all super messed up. Apparently, it's kind of just like a wear and tear, just kind of banged up thing. They did just announce that, I don't know the date, but at that Madison Square Garden NXT show, that they're doing a champion versus champion, winner takes it all, Julia versus Stephanie Vaquer thing. So again, she's not injured like she's going to be out for a very long time, just kind of, banged up. So I feel like I thought that match was going to happen at Stand and Deliver. Mm-hmm. So the fact that they're doing it here, I feel like is a way of them maybe kind of going, hey, we'll do it here. We'll put the title on Stephanie. Julia can take some time off, and then maybe Stand and Deliver, they do the rematch after they give Julia a couple weeks to rest up or something like that. I feel like that would be that makes sense as to why they're kind of hot-shotting this match. So, yeah.
I can see that.
Any thoughts on that?
I'm excited for the match. I think they're both very good competitors. Obviously, I think we've talked about this multiple times before at this point, but I mean, the women's division in NXT is kind of the best of the best there is right now in the wrestling world. And I mean, these two are kind of at the top of it pretty much. So, very exciting to see that. If Stephanie does end up winning, I think that'd be really cool, especially with how like recent her like steady rise has become to where she's become like North American champion. So already having this opportunity is a big deal, but if she does go on to win it, that would also be really cool as well.
One thing too I want to add real quick that I didn't add into the notes because they just kind of posted it yesterday and today, but 2K, they've started teasing their DLC. I know I sent it to you, Mr. Theo. From the rip, it looks like that first video they posted last night, cherry blossoms, that obviously means Julia. Then it zoomed into a city, which everybody has speculated is Motor City Machine Guns, so I'm super excited about that one. And then on one of the kind of skyscrapers, you can see the silhouette of a woman wearing devil horns, which is obviously Stephanie Vaquer. So it looks like those three are kind of confirmed. And then they released a new one today, I believe, that had who was kind of in it. It said ECW with a bandana. So that one is supposed to be New Jack, which is really cool. That'll be crazy if it's New Jack. Then it kind of went to the NXT in the 2300.
Like, it went to this ring of sorts, and
Right.
I'm pretty sure it's going to be Penta because there was someone doing like the Cerro Miedo hand symbol there. So I think
so it was the 2300 arena that NXT ran. So yeah, somebody had this in the crowd. So there's Penta. I'm hoping. I feel like it'd be cool if they add the actual NXT 2300 arena as DLC. If it's not already in the game, I feel like that would be cool. But in the ring had a J, so a lot of people are speculating that meant Jordan Grace. So that would be really cool. I know she said she did mocap for this year's game. Now she's officially signed, but people were speculating that she might be in a TNA pack anyways before she was signed. But now that she's officially signed and she had already been working with 2K, I could see them easily scanning her and stuff like that just in case. So now that she's officially signed, I feel like it's almost a done deal that she's probably going to be in there. And then the last one was it zoomed into like this Japanese kind of lake. Bull Nakano's face was just straight up in the lake, so Bull Nakano is confirmed.
It was not hidden at all.
Yeah,
it was the most obvious thing ever.
But that's cool. I like her. She's a legend. And there was a Prime bottle on the thing. That I have no clue. Obviously, Logan Paul is already in the game.
I've been seeing people speculate that it's going to be iShow Speed.
I feel like that would be cool. I thought it goes with Speed. I figured they're gonna find a way to just put the Prime bottle mascot in as DLC, which technically Speed was the Prime bottle mascot at least once or whatever.
Yeah.
But I would like, if it was just Speed in general, would be really cool. But I think it would be funny if they did kind of have a DLC character that was just the Prime bottle as the mascot. I think that kind of like Ribby was a couple years ago, just having like a mascot would be kind of fun. But so that's all the DLC teasers so far. Maybe we'll get another one tonight during Elimination Chamber. That would be cool. But I'm really excited. Penta, Jordan Grace, Stephanie Vaquer, Julia, Motor City.
A lot of
it looks
great
like
names.
this might be a legendary DLC run, if anything.
They need it.
Yeah.
After these last few years, they need it.
For sure. And so last piece of news, as we're already 22 minutes in and we haven't even touched our topic. Biggest news to me, made me get excited. I already figured it was happening, but now that we have it confirmed, Revenge of the Sith officially coming back to theaters for its 20th anniversary starting April 25th. It's only going to be in theaters for a week, starting on April 25th. We're going to be there. We'll be there. We'll be seated. Not much else I can say. We haven't made our official plans yet, but I know that me and Theo are going to be there for sure that week, probably on a Friday or Saturday. For those that don't know, Revenge of the Sith not only is my favorite Star Wars movie, it's just my favorite movie in general of all time. It's top tier for me. I think it's a great movie. Some people could debate it. I think it's a great movie, and I just think I just have such a, not even just nostalgia, I just have such a childhood connection to it. That was like the movie of my childhood. It really helped raise me. Even when we met Hayden Christensen, I legitimately said thank you for being such a strong part of my childhood. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, we'll be there. That's all I can say. Sure. Me and Theo went to the Phantom Menace one. What was that, last year?
I think it was last year,
years
year
ago,
prior
or
we did
like
that. And then we also did Return of the Jedi, I think a few years prior to that.
We went with our boy Elias, met him in Orlando, and we went and saw that. So, yeah, me and Theo will be there probably, like I said, on that Friday or Saturday of that week, in our seats, ready to go. All decked out in Revenge of the Sith merch. We'll have our Revenge of the Sith bathrobes and our little Anakin Skywalker hats and everything. We'll be ready to go.
Little fake $10 lightsabers.
Yeah, exactly. So, obviously, I'm excited. I'd imagine Theo is also super excited for it because it's just such a strong part of our childhood, you know? So, yeah. So that's our last piece of news. But I figured, we've done a ton of wrestling. We've done Marvel. We even did, kind of nostalgia with our childhood TV shows. Last week, we have not touched something that we both love. Probably together, we both love, like, our connection as friends has grown mainly because of this.
Yeah,
we could say wrestling.
This is the number one bond right here.
This is the main thread that connects me and Theo, and we have not done an episode on it. So we're going to be talking about none other than Star Wars today. But more specifically, we're going to talk about our top 5 Star Wars characters. We both have our lists. Two definitely kind of different lists, although I do know one of my characters is on your list. So yeah, we're going to break down our top 5 Star Wars characters. Like I said, Star Wars is the main thread that connects me and Theo when we, we'll peek inside into the family. When me and Theo were kids, I don't want to say we didn't necessarily get along, but we didn't necessarily get along that well.
Yeah.
I think we were just two different type of kids that were just doing two different types of things. It wasn't until we were kind of like, I was probably 15 or 16 and you were probably 14 or something like that, where we really kind of went, why are we not hanging out? We're cousins and we both love all the same shit. But the main thing was Star Wars. It's been such a strong part of both of our lives. And yeah, like I said, it's really what helped grow our friendship. And then from there, it's where we realized, like, hey, we both like Marvel. And then Theo wasn't necessarily a wrestling fan, but you got into wrestling. And that I think Star Wars started the connection, but I think wrestling has really blossomed our connection for sure.
Right.
So yeah, Star Wars is our main thread. So we got to do an episode talking about it. So Theo, give me your number 5. Who's your number 5? Or do we want to go honorable mentions?
We can start with honorable mentions. I can rattle them off real quick. There's like 20 people on the honorable mention list.
Go ahead.
All right, so honorable mentions. We're going to have Han Solo. We're going to have Finn, Darth Vader, General Grievous, Count Dooku, Lando, Kit Fisto, K2SO, Thrawn, Embo, Hondo Onaka, Hera Syndulla, and obviously at the very end, my glup shitto, Poggle the Lesser.
There you go, Poggle the motherfucking Lesser, bro. That's what his name should have been. Poggle the motherfucking Lesser.
Do you know how awesome you have to have your title be the Lesser? I don't want to be the great. I don't want to be the terrible. I want to be the lesser. Humble me.
Right. Incredible. Yeah, there's some great characters on there for sure. I will say Han Solo being in your honorable mentions is crazy because for years, nobody knows this really other than me here, but for years Han Solo was your number 1 guy. Like Han Solo was Jack's or Theo's top guy. So the fact that he's been degraded to honorable mention is kind of crazy on your list, bro.
I've changed. I've grown up, and my list kind of always reflects that. This is like an always changing list. I feel
right.
Like.
Oh yeah, kind of same with me. I feel like my top 3 stay the same, and you probably already know who my top 3 are. But my 4 and 5 just constantly are kind of switching around and whatnot. But honorable mentions for me, I didn't write them down, but I can raffle them off. I mean, Ahsoka Tano, that's a top tier character that I've grown up with. I told you before we recorded, Sabine was even on my list. I kind of knocked her off. But Sabine and Ezra, 2 characters I love that I think are awesome. Han Solo is a character more recently that I've kind of come around to and realized that I think he's a great character. Obi-Wan Kenobi, that's a top tier guy for me. Didn't make the list, but he's also honorable mention. We can go all day. My glup shitto is Bail Organa. I think
you got it. You have to mention your glup shitto always.
You have to. There's honorable mentions, and then your glup shitto, and then your top 5. That's really how it goes.
Honestly, the glup shitto is more important than the honorable mentions. I'm gonna be honest.
Yes. Kit Fisto, another character I love. Plo Koon, top tier character as well. Obviously in Clone Wars he gets a lot more. But my glup shitto is Mr. Bail Organa. It might be wild to some people, but I've always I love Jimmy Schmitz, who is the actor that plays him. But in general, I just always thought, like, in a world where there's, like, in that world, there's constant war going on. It seems fun to live in the Star Wars universe. It is not fun to live in the Star Wars universe, bro. It is hell. The fact that this man has been able to continue to be a good person and just be a caring and compassionate person throughout all this bullshit makes me absolutely love him. The fact that he took in someone else's child in the middle of all this crazy shit at the end of Revenge of the Sith, like, I don't know. I just have a connection to him because I just think, like, wow, literally all this bullshit's going on and this man still finds a way to be, like, a good person. And so, yeah, that's my glup shitto is Mr. Bail Organa. But he also, like, he ain't no slouch. Like, this man low-key making moves. Like, he knows what the fuck's going on. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's a good, passionate, personal glitch.
Compassionate.
He's a compassionate person. But, like, you ain't getting shit over him, bro. Like, he knows what the hell's going on. So
No.
yeah, so that's my glup shitto. But yeah, characters like Sabine, Ezra, Ahsoka, all those people. Mando, I love Mando. Yeah, Moff Gideon is even a cool character. Like, yeah, we could literally go on all day about just characters that we really enjoy. Obi-Wan Kenobi probably should be on my list, but he did kind of get knocked down. And I'm saying these things, and when y'all hear my number 5, Theo's going to understand, because I've said it before, but when y'all hear my number 5, you're going to be like, y'all really chose that person over Obi-Wan and stuff like that. But I do want to say, this is all
It's Sebulba.
personal. This is all personal preference. Before we jump into it, for sure, this is all personal preference. If you're listening to this and you don't like our lists, this is not lists of who the best Star Wars characters are. These are just our personal connection of who we love. So please leave your toxic bullshit at the door if you're here and you want to sit there and comment something stupid about how could you choose this person and this person's not on your list. Yeah, I don't care. So leave it at the door. Go hang out with Star Wars Theory. This isn't a place for any negativity or any toxic fandom shit. We wanna do some
Go get your own glup shitto, you bitch.
Exactly. Yeah. So go take your negativity somewhere else if you're listening. This is a place for fun, cool, and really kind of nice interactions. So, Theo, who is your official number 5? Exactly. Who's your number 5?
My number 5 is Qui-Gon Jinn. Who has very recently climbed the ranks very, very highly. And that was after I had read the Master and Apprentice book last year, which is easily my favorite Star Wars book. I think it's one of the best Star Wars books. If you are a Star Wars
Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, right?
That's Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, right? Yep. If you haven't read it and if you like reading Star Wars books, I think you are honestly doing yourself a disservice because it is fucking incredible. It's probably one of my top 10 books, honestly. But he's currently my favorite, I'd say, Jedi character. Well, I mean, number 4 is going to trump that, obviously, but I think currently he's my favorite Jedi. Okay. But I just like him because he has such a different way of approaching being a Jedi. I think a lot of people want to make the comparison that he's sort of like a gray Jedi. I don't necessarily agree with that. I just think he tries to tackle things in a more spiritual way instead of playing by the rules, and I think that's what I really kind of like about him.
Yes.
Is because he's more compassionate, and he's more caring. I feel like he's not so robust and robotic almost with how he tackles being a Jedi, and I think he finds a lot of unorthodox success through doing that, but success nonetheless.
I agree with you. Qui-Gon is another honorable mention. Again, like we said, we can go all day about honorable mentions. Qui-Gon, even Poe Dameron was someone that popped in my head as another honorable mention for me. I love him. But yeah, Qui-Gon, honorable mention for me too. I think, like you said, I just always loved how he's just so different. And he just does it the man wasn't on the council because he just didn't agree with what the hell they were doing. He just
Exactly.
He was like a maverick in the damn Jedi Order. He just did his own thing, and they just kind of had to let him do it. But he wasn't being reckless. He genuinely was doing his own thing in the best way that he could. I love, like you said, how kind of spiritual he is and how wise he is. He's very, he's just very good. And I think you could also see, I think maybe the best master and apprentice relationship may be Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, because I feel like
it's definitely top 5 for sure.
I feel like that's the most clear you can see the influence that a master has had on his apprentice, because when Obi-Wan kind of grows up by episode 3, when he grows up, you see a lot of Qui-Gon in Obi-Wan. There's a lot of reflection there. So yeah, I'm fully with you on your number 5. I agree. He's a top tier character. My number 5, I feel like it's gonna be kind of controversial because it's just such a small character. But my number 5 is the second sister, Trilla Sinduri. Wasn't in any of the movies, wasn't in any of the shows. The only thing she's been in was the first Jedi game, Jedi Fallen Order. She was the main villain. Something just really connected to me with her. I often kind of said she was the female version of another one of my favorite characters, so I feel like that kind of connects in a way and is kind of similar. But I just loved her story. I thought it was such a, I don't know, anyone that knows me, I kind of like the kind of darker and sadder storylines and whatnot. So seeing her story play out, I fully resonated with her. I understood what happened to her and why she was the way she was and stuff like that. So yeah, I just love her. I think She was a great character. I thought she had a great backstory, very tragic backstory that made her really great. I hate that she kind of died, but again, it kind of made sense because fucking Vader showed up, bro. What the hell? Say she failed and Vader showed up, so there was no saving her. So yeah, there's not much I could say because there's really not too much content on her. I wish we could get like a comic series about her or about her and her master.
Well, like the Ninth Sister.
No, I'm talking about
Seer.
Seer. My bad. Yeah. Like it'd be cool if we can get a comic series about like her and Seer and their adventures during the Clone Wars or something like that. So yeah, I can't add too much because there isn't too much, but her kind of short appearance in that one game really had like a strong impact on me and really resonated on me. So she's my number 5.
Definitely another good honorable mention. There's probably like 5,000 honorable mentions we can honestly
Yep.
out of Star Wars. But I just recently rewatched that one scene with her and Vader at the end of Fallen Order, and it still gives me goosebumps.
Top tier.
Like it's just so well done. My number 4 is going to be Yoda.
Ayo.
He I think always just
Number 4 I am. Rest in peace, headphone users. I'm sorry. Someone just ripped their headphones out of their ear listening to this.
They're done. They're not listening anymore.
Yeah, unsubscribe.
Yep. But I mean, he was my favorite for about like a good decade. He was my childhood favorite, my first favorite. To anybody that kind of doesn't really like him for any sort of decisions that he made in like the Jedi Council or anything like that, I know there's definitely a lot of controversy around his like decision making within the Jedi Order. Yeah, right there.
Fuck that
off,
guy.
great.
I'll punt kick that little green fuck.
Sorry, headphone users.
Fuck the headphone users too.
This is gone off the rails.
Yeah.
No, but I really, really enjoy him. I think he's super wise, super... Even just, like, outside of, like, Jedi things, I feel like just how to live your life, I feel like he's given a lot of good inspiration to not only characters in the Star Wars universe, but just the viewers, the audience, like us. I feel like he's imparted a good amount of wisdom to pretty much anybody that hears what he has to say. I honestly, to me, there's almost like 2 different kind of Yodas. There's like Grand Master Jedi Yoda and then Dagobah Yoda. I fucking love Dagobah Yoda.
You're forgetting Lego Yoda.
Of course, Lego Yoda is obviously top tier. I mean, unparalleled. You almost sounded like Palpatine, like
Palpatine
twisting through the air.
Yeah. It's Yoda then.
Yeah, no, but I love Dagobah Yoda the most. I feel like he's just like super kooky.
Mine,
and obviously,
mine.
he's like hitting R2D2 with the fucking cane.
Yeah.
So entertaining, such a good character, and obviously I do have a little bit of bias towards just like puppets like that because he was also played by Frank Oz, who was like a very big name in like the whole like Muppets kind of company and everything like that. So obviously there's a little bit of bias there, but he's always a top 5 character for me. I think he's just always going to be. He's very, very cute, very green, very lovable. Sure. And now we have Grogu, who is pretty much going to be taking over that whole. They still haven't really named what he is.
Yeah, we don't know what their species is yet.
Yeah, we don't know what there is.
I think the only person that knew that was George Lucas, and I think now maybe the only other people that know that is Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni.
George Lucas just walked up to them and just went into their ear and just be like, his name is blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. The species name is this and their homeworld is that. You will get me a Coke Zero. This may be the first time that I kind of disagree with you on one of your picks on a list here. I don't hate Yoda. I don't want to say like I hate Yoda or anything like that. I'm just not really a Yoda guy. You were saying about his decisions being the headmaster of the Jedi Council. I don't fuck with the way that man kind of handled things. I feel like there were definitely better ways to handle things. Listen, it's a movie in a fake universe, and they have to fill out the movie, so I get it. But
if if you let a 900-year-old man in charge of any sort of governing body like that, I feel like that's probably the first mistake.
Yeah, welcome to America. The past like 10
Yeah,
years, brother.
exactly. Past 10. Past 200.
even
What are we
for
talking about?
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. I'm just not like a super big Yoda guy. Again, I don't dislike him in general. Like, he's just okay to me. But yeah, when it comes to like his decision and stuff, I'm not a big fan. So I feel like, again, it's your personal list, but to me, he's not even an honorable mention for me. It might be shocking to some people, but I just don't really care about the guy, man. But my number 4 is a big one, and I know I'm pretty sure he may be even number 1 for you, is Darth Maul. Top tier character. From the jump, when I first saw this man in Phantom Menace when I was a little kid, a wee little lad,
We little lad, Kyle.
a young Padawan, as most would say.
Young little Kyle in the theater watching Phantom Menace.
Yeah, well, okay, something funny about that. So that came out in 99, so I was a year old. So I'm like, oh, there's no way I saw this movie. My mother claims that I was there. Like, my mother claims that she took me to the movies to see this. And I think my dad even backed it up and was like, yeah, we took you to see that movie. I'm like, I was a year old. But apparently, I went and saw Phantom Menace in theaters. But yeah, from the moment that I saw him, I think my first actual recollection is just watching the DVD when I was a little kid. From the moment I saw him, he looked scary, but he looked cool as hell. It was one of those things where he's scary, but he also looks cool as hell. And then when Homeboy pulls out a lightsaber and it ignites, and you're like, okay. And then the other one ignites. I feel like every little kid that likes Star Wars has to go, holy shit, this is the coolest motherfucker I've ever seen in my life. So yeah, from the jump, I always thought Darth Maul was such a cool character. I love his design. I love the double-bladed lightsaber. We didn't get really any character development in the Phantom Menace for him. He was kind of just like there. He was, you know what I'm saying? But where it comes in is obviously when they resurrect him in Clone Wars and his stories within Clone Wars, and then obviously in Rebels. That's where his character development is. So between his character design, his lightsaber, and then his kind of development within those animated shows, top tier character, man. Like, he legitimately went from, and obviously I think that was their idea, like, he went from, he was just like this random cool villain that we just used for one movie that we killed off, and then Dave Filoni was like, now let's take that and let's fully dive in and make him like the most in-depth, like, complicated character in Star Wars. So yeah, I just love him. I think everything within Clone Wars and Rebels is just incredible from him. I cried when he died. I felt it. So yeah, not too much more to add, and I'm sure Theo will add more when Maul pops up on his
I'll
list.
add more to it a little bit later.
So yeah, my number 4 is Darth Maul. I think even as a little kid, he's always been one of my favorite characters. He's just so cool. And to add, I almost forgot, I have actually fought Darth Maul. In real life, I have fought Darth Maul. For those that don't know, Disney used to, at Hollywood Studios, they used to have a Jedi Training Academy show where they would take little kids out of the crowd and make them Padawans and train them. And then while you're being trained, there's a disturbance in the Force, and 2 villains would show up. It kind of alternated. It was originally Vader and Maul, but sometimes at one point it became Ventress. Then I think like one of the female Inquisitor from Rebels was in there with Vader. So it alternated. But when I was a kid, this was like 2005 at Star Wars Weekends, I was a part of it. And so yeah, I fought Darth Maul. So I actually am one of the few people in the real world that could say that I have fought Darth Maul in real life. And I lived. And I beat his ass. And as like, I was like probably 5 or 6 when this happened, I was fucking terrified. I remember there was like a part where I had to like go for the head, and I went for the head, and he blocked it, and he like got in and was like, and I swear to God, I probably may have shit myself. So yeah, to add to that, yeah, pretty cool. I am someone that has fought Darth Maul in real life. It's pretty cool.
Nice, there you go. My number 3 favorite Star Wars character is going to be Cad Bane.
Ayo.
Anybody that kind of knows me pretty well knows that I love. It's not even a glup show because he's actually like a cool character.
I know.
Anybody that really kind of knows me knows I love anything like cowboy related, and this man is like literally the epitome of cowboy shit in fucking Star Wars.
Hangman Adam Page is Star Wars.
The Hangman Adam Page of the Star Wars universe.
Yep.
I mean, you gotta know it's a quality character when it's really Dave Filoni's favorite character in all of Star Wars. I've always loved, ever since I was a little kid watching Clone Wars, I've always fucked with this guy super hard. And there was one moment that will always kind of like, it's almost a core memory for me pretty much in terms of like Star Wars is, so in my university's library, I was a student at USF at the time. And in our library, it's like 5 floors or something like that. On one of the floors, they have these like individual study pods and stuff like that. And I would just go in there.
You walked by one and Cad Bane was just in there studying.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm trying to say. No, but I would go into these pods
fucking
like before
physics.
I don't understand what the midichlorians do. But yeah, I would just go there before classes and just like watch whatever new episode of like the Book of Boba Fett, WandaVision, whatever like Marvel or Star Wars show was coming out at the time. I would just be in one of those pods in the morning watching the newest episode. And I would always remember in the Book of Boba Fett, the first scene at the end of like, I don't know if it was like episode 4 or something like that, where he's like slowly walking into the town from off in the distance. The second it panned over to him, even from far away, I knew. I fucking knew it was him. And you've never seen someone flip so much shit so quietly before in your life. I was losing my mind without making a sound in that pod. And the whole scene of him in that show is incredible. Every scene he does is honestly incredible to me. I think he's one of the most badass characters, one of the most aura-filled characters in all of Star Wars. I think he's super sick.
Yeah, for sure. For me, like he's not someone I necessarily care about too much. I know, I respect it, and I see how much you like him. But even like when I watched Clone Wars, I was like, whatever. Like it is what it is. He's not like a big character of mine. But I will say when he showed up in Book of Boba Fett, I did do the old kind of thing. I was like, oh shit. So that was cool. I feel like hopefully they bring him back around because I feel like he was a little wasted in that show. So I hope that they do bring him back around and have him come back in to live action somewhere, whether it's the Mando movie or whatever it is. I hope he comes back around. But yeah, I respect it. I can't add too much because I'm not like super well versed in on that character or necessarily even care about that character that much. But yeah, my number 3 is someone who now my 3. I said earlier my 3 stay the same since like 2018. My 3 have kind of stayed the same, even though my 1 and 2 have switched. But I think I'm at the official. This is how it is, and it's not going to change. So my number 3 has actually legitimately, I think, made me a better person because of how much. Not that I was like a horrible person before. It made me more of like a maybe more understanding person. So that's Kanan Jarrus, from Star Wars Rebels. Star Wars Rebels in general is just like one of, if not, is like my favorite Star Wars thing. Obviously, other than Revenge of the Sith. I just love that show so much. I had such a connection to it. I wasn't a kid when it came out. I was like a legitimate grown man. So it wasn't like, oh, I grew up with it. I more so would have grown up with Clone Wars, even though I didn't watch it too much as a kid. But yeah, I remember just watching it every week and just connecting more and more and more to this character every episode. Yeah, I just, similar to Qui-Gon, I think, like, he's just very spiritual. Like, he's just very, very calm. I mean, he does have, I like, because he has, like, a hot head, but he also can be very calm and very, like, reserved at a lot of times, too. And I feel like I'm very similar, where I'm very calm and I'm very, like, relaxed, but there's also times where I kind of turn to 100 if someone really pisses me off, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, he's just someone that really kind of helped, I guess, yeah, like, kind of make me a more understanding and kind of, like, relaxed person in a way of, like, how to think about things and whatnot. So, yeah, again, I can't add too much, but, yeah, he's my number 3. I love him so much. I think Freddie Prinze Jr. being the voice, I love Freddie Prinze Jr. ever since I was a kid, watching them damn Scooby-Doo movies where he's Fred. So I've always loved him, so him being in there was incredible as the voice. And yeah, just in general, I love his character design. I just love everything about him. I think he's just a great character in general. I love his relationship, not only with Ezra, but really his relationship with everybody. Like, his relationship with Ezra is so good. Obviously, his relationship with Hera is, like, beautiful and kind of sad. But even his relationship with Sabine, where he kind of takes her in as, like, a daughter. Like his relationship with at least those three are really peak. And yeah, so I just think he's like really just a general great character all around. I think Dave Filoni did like an incredible job with that character.
Not exactly an honorable mention for me, but it is a pick that I will respect just because it is on the similar level of that Qui-Gon pick that I had earlier. Definitely one of the better characters to come out of Rebels. I didn't realize until you said that. Now that I am looking back on it, it is. I didn't realize that was Fred. I just didn't know that. But that's really cool, actually. I fuck with that.
And that's another case too, where similar to Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, where in the spoiler alert, once Kanan dies and Ezra, like that later season, I feel like you really could see the reflection of Kanan's teachings in Ezra. Like when Ezra sacrifices himself and stuff, it was very Kanan-esque. Like Ezra was very stubborn and hot-headed, and he still is. But in that moment where he knew what he had to do, it was a very Kanan-esque. Like everybody relax. It's sad, but I have this under control. This is what needs. You know what I'm saying? It was very Kanan-esque. So again, similar to Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, you could see the teachings and the lessons that he instills in Ezra in the later seasons.
Yeah, no, definitely good master apprentice dichotomy going on there. My number 2, I think this one might surprise you a little bit, honestly.
Okay.
Is going to be Leia Organa.
It doesn't surprise me.
Doesn't surprise you? Okay.
No.
Great.
He's a great character.
Yeah, great character. It's a good pick. It should be on your list.
Right.
This is someone that originally I wasn't that big of a fan of, but I feel like she's grown on me a lot more over the past few years, especially after reading the Bloodline book, where she kind of like is trying to, she's like a senator almost, and she's trying to like help reorganize the New Republic government and other stuff like that after
she's trying to piece the galaxy back together.
She's trying to piece the galaxy back together, and all the struggles she has about how it's revealed that she's like Darth Vader's son and stuff like that, and she's trying to dodge all those bullets. Daughter, sorry about that. I didn't realize I missed that.
That's funny as hell.
Yeah, and there's also a bunch of other senators and stuff like that that are still like pro-imperial and stuff like that. So she's obviously trying to battle with them. But as like I feel like a leader, I feel like she's probably one of the most inspiring characters and someone that can really rally anybody up. Definitely someone that I feel like has a lot more of like a hope core kind of character, somewhat similar to like a Superman, how he instills like a lot of hope in people, not just the characters in the universe, but also like the audience and stuff like that. Like I feel like she's really someone that truly believes in what she says and what she fights for, and that kind of spreads downwards throughout everybody else under her within the rebellion and in the resistance as well. And just someone that I feel like is super inspiring and is able to kind of almost similar to with Canon with you, kind of make me a better person in relation to that. Because I feel like she's very inspirational and she has a lot of good wisdom to impart as well.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's not really surprising because I know how good of a character she is, because like growing up, my mother became a Star Wars fan with me and, watched them, and she loves Star Wars. That's something that, similar to how Star Wars is such a main thread for you and I, it's also a main thread for me and my mom, and what we connect on, and we constantly are talking about Star Wars and whatnot. And Padme and Leia are like her two favorite characters. So I've always heard my whole life about how, in reality, not that my mom is just sitting there randomly talking about, oh, these are great characters, but anytime we talk about Star Wars, my mother explains why she loves those two characters so much. So I get it. Leia, I'm saying, I don't want to necessarily say she's an honorable mention for me, but similar, like I respect your choice because I see how she's a great character. And it's a case too, not like obviously like a master and apprentice thing, but similar. It's kind of the family dichotomy. You can really see, like, even though George obviously wrote this character before the prequels and stuff like that, you could still see the kind of influence that her parents have, kind of, not that they were around, but like the genetics that have passed on. And you see, like, she has and even Obi-Wan says it in the Obi-Wan show too, where like she has the kindness and the compassion and the wisdom that like her mom had, but she also has the stubborn, kind of hot-headed run before thinkingness that Anakin had. So it's like you can see her parents in her, you know what I'm saying? I think that helps make her a great character.
Right.
My number 2 is, no surprise, I'm wearing him on the t-shirt. My number 2, my top guy here for this, Mr. Kylo Ren, Mr. Ben Solo. He was my number 1 during the sequels. but my number one, after we met the number one spot, I kind of had to be like, you know what, I can't. He's, you know what I'm saying, I have to. So my number two is Kylo Ren, Ben Solo. You know, I just really kind of connected to the character. I've also had people be like, how the hell did you connect to this character? He's a horrible person. But, you know, as I've thought about it, like, he genuinely, and I don't think people put too much thought into him, and that's why people just kind of dismiss it. But, like, he genuinely, again, not that I'm saying, like, he had a reason to murder people or anything, but, like, just his way of kind of turning and why he turned to the dark side, he genuinely had a good reason to kind of turn to the dark side. He's always felt alone. He's always felt kind of abandoned. When he was a kid, Han was not a great father. Han was not really around. He was chasing adventures. And Leia was dealing with being a senator and trying to piece the galaxy together. So it's like he kind of raised himself. Closest thing to a father he kind of had was like Chewie. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I understand. And I've always, I don't want to get too personal and whatnot, but like, I've always kind of felt like an outsider. I've always kind of felt alone. I have great parents. I have a great family. But I've always felt like my dad was always busy at work. He was always working. You know this. He was always working. There were times he wouldn't come home until 10 o'clock at night, so some days I didn't even see him. And my mom and my sister have this, like, connection. So I've always kind of felt, again, great parents. I don't want to change anything. But there is a part of me that has always kind of felt alone and kind of felt like an outsider, even within kind of my own family. So I just really kind of resonated with him, and I really connected with him because I understood how he felt, because I kind of grew up feeling the same way at times. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, it's just top tier character. I think most people, even in general, people that don't like the sequel movies, will still say that he is the best part of the sequels. Like, he is the best character, the best written character. He has the best story. So in general, I think, he's just a good character that even, again, people that don't like the sequels go, well, yeah, at least that was a shining spot. Adam Driver, one of my favorite actors. Obviously, I was introduced to him as Kylo Ren, but other performances, like we went and saw House of Gucci, and we were like, give this guy an award, because he's like, this isn't Adam Driver, this is a different person. Like, I think he's just a great actor, so that helps with my love of the character. And yeah, I was crying like a baby when we saw Rise of Skywalker and he died, but it made sense, because I was like, he turned to the good, you know, he turned back to the light and went back to being Ben Solo and whatnot. But I kind of knew, like, even after this, like, what can he do? He killed millions of people. I don't think they're just gonna welcome him in with open arms. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of figured he had to die. You know what I'm saying? I didn't think there was too much leeway for him to be like, all right, so where's my room on the base, guys? You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I was upset about it, but it made sense, and I was just happy that he got his redemption. You know what I'm saying? I know they changed it. I've done like a whole deep dive on whatnot. He was supposed to not go back to the light. I guess at some point he was still supposed to die. But before they brought in Palpatine, he was supposed to kind of become like Palpatine. Like, he was supposed to be, you know, fully committed to the dark side and be super strong and then die. I kind of like the way that they did it more. I kind of like that he was able to redeem himself and go back to being Ben Solo. A scene, I'm rambling, but I do just love this character so much. A scene that I constantly look back on is the scene where he kind of talks to, not Force Ghost Han, but like his thought of Han or whatever it was. Losing my dad, that's a scene that I kind of go back, because I feel like it was kind of a similar relationship, you know what I'm saying? Again, I love my dad, but there was times when me and my dad didn't see eye to eye and we didn't have a great connection. So yeah, that scene in general where they kind of were able to connect and whatnot is something that I go back and kind of watch. But yeah, in general, I just love this character so much. I've connected with this character way too much over like 10 years at this point. I know so much about this character. I don't like sit and read all the books and the comics, but I make sure to read up on them and know what's going on and things like that. I think there's currently a comic run right now where him and someone are off and they go to like Padme's tomb or something like there's a whole thing where Kylo goes to his grandmother's grave. I'm like, that's incredible. Like, that's such a cool thing to add to the character, you know? So yeah, I'll quit rambling, because we could be here for 3 hours just talking about Kylo Ren and Ben Solo. But that's my number two. I just love this character so much. I think he's a great character.
No, I mean, for sure. You've been a big fan of him for so many years now, pretty much since like The Force Awakens came out. You've been a very big fan of the character. not one that I'd say is an honorable mention, but something I could definitely respect for sure. She has a very great story and is, again, like you said, one of the strongest parts of the sequel trilogy, I'd say.
And
My
a great
number
actor.
one.
SNL
And a great
legend.
and a great actor. And a great
SNL
host.
legend. One of the best, for sure.
But as you mentioned earlier, a little bit, or teased, I guess, my number one is, in fact, Darth Maul. I think he is one of the, if not just my favorite written character in fiction. I think he only really kind of improves with every edition. I kind of similar to you, growing up watching like Phantom Menace and stuff like that. He was always someone that was like, oh, this guy is so sick. He looks so cool. He's like red. He's got the horns. He's got the double-bladed lightsaber. It's so sick.
Right.
And then obviously with being a big like Clone Wars fan, obviously his story getting far more expounded upon, him coming back, him continuing to fight Obi-Wan, and then leading into like the crime syndicate stuff and all like that. It's just
Yes,
like
sir.
every single thing that they add with this character, I'm like, yes, yes, yes. And all the way up until like Rebels, where he finally
Roses.
Roses. Give this man his flowers every time.
Yes, sir.
Even with like Rebels and stuff like that, how his story like ended with Obi-Wan on Tatooine. I remember you and I were there for that episode when that episode dropped, and we were watching it side by side, and we watched the duel happen, and it ended so fast. I was like, "Did you skip it or something? Was that?" But even as that duel kind of how that played out, I still really like how they did it and where it ended very quickly, and his moves were kind of like predictable because of all the rage that he got built up inside of him. And I think that's really why I like Darth Maul a lot, because kind of how you learn like stuff in history, stuff like that, against how a lot of my other characters are, where they're more like hopeful and inspiring and stuff like that. This is more so like a character where you learn everything about him so that you don't kind of make the same mistakes and go down the same dark path that he did, because you'll see it throughout the entire show where like the dark side is like just continuously beating down on him and using him as like a weapon. And same thing with like Sidious and all that, how he kind of uses him as a weapon and as like a tool to serve his purpose or the purpose of the dark side and stuff like that, and how it like negatively affects him, and he just has such a tragic story throughout all of Star Wars because of how he just gets so used and abused by like the powers of the dark side and stuff like that.
100%. I want to add, because I kind of started laughing because something popped in my head as I was listening to you that has nothing to do with Maul. It has something to do with Kylo Ren. When you, I don't want to necessarily out you here, but when you had like one of your burner Twitter accounts and I saw it or whatever, the first tweet that I saw was you saying, "I wish my cousin would shut the fuck up about Kylo Ren."
I don't remember tweeting this at all. What?
You tweeted it was something like you were tweeting stuff about like your friends or something like that, and you were like, you didn't say, you were like, "To my best friend," which made my heart feel okay. Oh, thank you. But then you go, "I wish you would shut the fuck up about Kylo Ren. I do not care." And I thought that was the funniest thing. That should have me dying, bro. That should have me dying.
So good. I love that so much.
But
go past me.
There you go. But I was listening. It's just something that popped in my head real quick. Maul, obviously, top tier character. Obviously, he's my number 4. Yeah, just an incredible character, incredible depth. I don't remember us watching that fight side by side, but I'll take your word for it. And I think everybody's instant reaction was like, "Wait, what the fuck?" But then when Sam Witwer like did that video where he was on a podcast or whatever, and he broke it down, it makes so much more sense when he says like, Obi-Wan straight up played this guy. This guy saw nothing but rage and anger, and Obi-Wan was totally calm and went like, whatever he did, he was like, "I'm Qui-Gon, I'm Obi-Wan, no, I'm Ben," or whatever, in his stance with the lightsaber. Incredible, and that's why Maul goes for the same move that he hit with Qui-Gon, and it fails because Obi-Wan saw it coming. Straight up played that man. But I think, great character. Ray Park obviously was him in Phantom Menace and did a good job. But like I think we all know, Sam Witwer, bro.
Sam Witwer's the guy. I think that's honestly why the character is so good to begin with, is because Sam Witwer is already such a big Star Wars fan and has such a deep understanding of like Star Wars and how the characters in Star Wars should operate. I think that's probably why he is a very, very well done character, is because the person that plays him knows Star Wars.
Right, for sure. So top tier character. I knew he was your number 1 for a minute there. So it makes sense.
him as a bust.
There you go. Yep.
From
I think I
Galaxy's
was there
Edge.
when you got it.
Yeah.
I believe I was there when you got it at Galaxy's Edge and Doc Ondar's.
I knocked something over.
Top tier character. I don't have a Maul. I have a Maul figure back there. I can't grab it right now, but I do have a Black Series Maul figure. Yeah, top tier character. So I wholeheartedly agree with you. My number one is no surprise to anyone that knows me. Theo already sees it coming, and I think Theo will agree with me. And probably another one of your honorable mentions, if you haven't mentioned. Maybe you did mention him. It's none other than the top guy himself, the John Cena,
the big man,
of Star Wars, the big man, Anakin Skywalker. That's my number one. This isn't
I thought it was gonna be
fully
Dexter.
Anakin Skywalker, but I got a little Vader right here that I did grab.
There you go.
Same character, but I'm mainly referring to Anakin Skywalker. Obviously, we both grew up with the prequels. Like I said, Revenge of the Sith is my favorite movie of all time. So when I'm saying this, I'm mainly talking about that version of Anakin in Revenge of the Sith. But I just love, whether it's Anakin or Vader. I almost said Vanakin. Just in general, I just love the character. I just love the character so much. Yeah, I just understand the character. I grew up. This is my childhood hero. Y'all can't really see it, but there is a photo there of me, Theo, and our friend Dave with Hayden Christensen a few years ago at MegaCon. I think it was like 2 years ago at this point. Yeah. I treated so that we can meet one of our childhood heroes, because I just thought, like, we have to do that. So we got to meet our guy. We got to meet him. So that was cool. But yeah, I literally just grew up with this guy being like the main. It was him and John Cena that were like the main heroes of my childhood. It was them and like Spider-Man. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I had to pick one person from each thing, it's like Cena, Spider-Man, Anakin. Out of my three favorite things, those are my childhood heroes. So yeah, I could like Kylo, I could ramble on for another hour about how much I love Anakin Skywalker, but yeah, in general, I just think he's the top guy. He's the focal point. It's my favorite story. I think it's one of the greatest stories ever told, and he's the middle of it. I think everything that leads up to everything with his turn and everything is so beautifully tragic, I guess you could say. Like, it's such a beautiful yet so depressing and sad, and that's why I love it so much. I love how like brash he is, and he kind of just says whatever the fuck comes to his mind, while also just like all disregard for anything around. Like, he just like, I hate that person, I'm going to lunge at them now. Like, I love how how we were talking about Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, and how we were talking about Ezra and Kanan, and how you can see the the teachings within the Padawan. That shit don't fly with Obi-Wan and Anakin, boy. No. I don't think Obi-Wan low-key taught that man anything. Because whether it's Attack of the Clones, Clone Wars, or Revenge of the Sith, Anakin is constantly just like, what the fuck do you know? I'm right. And I just love how, as much as I love seeing the teachings in the character later, I also love seeing Anakin just full on being like, fuck off.
Are you the chosen one, or am I the chosen one? I'm the chosen one.
And I also love the karma that kind of comes his way when he himself gets a Padawan who also is like, fuck off. Like, and there's multiple times in Clone Wars where he's just like, I see what Obi-Wan has to deal with now. Like, I'm sorry, Obi-Wan. I'm still gonna be me, but like, damn, I kind of feel your pain a little bit, because this bitch is just testing my patience today. So yeah, I just love everything about him, from his story to his personality. I think he's one of the great. Not only is he like the best Star Wars character, I think he's just obviously one of the greatest like characters ever made in general. Whether it's Anakin or Vader, obviously I think everybody will agree. Like, Vader, even if you don't like Star Wars, you have to say Vader is probably like top 5 movie villains ever made, just because of how incredible he is. So yeah, Anakin Skywalker / Darth Vader, but mainly like Revenge of the Sith, Anakin Skywalker is my top guy. That's my number one pick.
Definitely a very good pick. I don't think anybody could really hate you for that pick. He's obviously the guy. Darth Vader was one of my honorable mentions. I feel like Darth Vader, more specifically, is, I feel like, one of the most badass people ever. Like, you can look at the scenes from like Rogue One. You can look at the scenes from fucking the Kenobi show and stuff like that. You could look at the scenes from the Fallen Order game. He's a fucking badass. Everything they've been doing with this character, especially recently, has been super cool. But I think just all time, he's one of the goats for sure.
Top tier. I said, I grabbed the Vader, and I was like, well, it's not Anakin, but it's Vader. And then I realized right next to me is my galactic hero, Anakin Skywalker, Count Dooku. So this is the Anakin I'm really talking about. This is my guy. This is my Anakin. Is that Revenge?
My favorite character is the Galactic Heroes line of action figures.
Yeah. Do you still have yours? I know I gave you one.
I
years
don't
ago.
know where it is. I feel like I might have it in my closet.
Who did I give you? Because when I did my video on my Star Wars collection, I obviously talked about this, and I said I gave you one. And I didn't remember who the fuck
You gave me. I think it was Hoth, Luke, and Han.
Okay. But so yeah, there's our list. My 5: Trilla, Maul, Kanan, Kylo, Anakin. Those are my top guys and girl. I love them all. Theo, yours?
My 5: Qui-Gon, Yoda, Cad Bane, Leia, and Maul.
Yes, sir. In general, we just love Star Wars so much. Like we said, there's 1,000 other characters that we could sit here. We could record a podcast that will last 3 days of just all the characters. Not even talking about the movies and shows and stuff. Just the characters. We can sit here for days. Cal Kestis, another great character that just popped in my head. Like just so many great characters that we love. So yeah, Theo, you anything else you wanna kind of add real quick?
Make sure to follow us on our Twitter, and as well the WNRN. Make sure to follow them as well.
Yes, sir. We got other than that, yeah, we have Elimination Chamber tonight. The title is on the line, like I said.
It's on the line.
My first defense. We'll see. Am I gonna keep the defense rolling? I did. I think you saw it. I've created a note that kind of calculates the amount of reigns and amount of defenses we'll have. So I think that's kind of fun. So we'll be able to sit there and talk about it. So yeah, this is gonna go. I'm gonna upload this obviously super quick. So anyone that may be watching before Elimination Chamber, if you want to find out who wins, you'll find out by the end of the night, because whoever wins, we will record a quick little promo and we'll throw it up on the OTS Project Twitter or X. So stay tuned for that. If you're listening and you want to find out who won, check our X out and you'll see that. So yeah, follow me, OTS Bridger, OTS Bebop. I think OTS Project, because I did create an X account for the OTS Project in general. And yeah, other than that, we will see y'all next week. Thanks for watching.